Okay. So hi everyone, welcome back to another session of RBI 247. आज हम रिवीजन करने वाले हैं for the month of February. So February revision session होने वाला है ये. Let's get started. Before we start the session today, there is something that I want to tell you. A little piece of information. The team of Anuj Jindal, the team of AnujJindal.in is going to bring something very interesting for all of you. So stay tuned. आपके लिए बहुत helpful होगी जो भी चीज़ आ रही है. Okay. Let's get started with today's session. आज हम करने वाले हैं February month का revision. So all the questions that we discussed in the month of February, we're going to discuss it again today. Let's start with the first question. Dash is a type of RBI regulated entity that helps an individual securely and digitally access and share information from one financial institution they have in an account with to any other regulated financial institution. So the correct answer here is account aggregator. What does an account aggregator does? सबसे पहले it is a regulated entity जिनको NBFC AA का टैग मिला हुआ है लाइसेंस. NBFC AA, NBFC account aggregators. What they do is these entities helps you transfer all the information data that you have in with one financial account and you want to transfer the same data or information to any other financial institution. So this account aggregator helps you transfer information, but this cannot be done without your consent, without the consent of an individual. So earlier what used to happen was, इससे पहले क्या होता था, एक blanket approval मिल जाता था और an umbrella approval कि all the data or all the information related to you from a financial institution, for example, आपका किस बैंक अकाउंट में अकाउंट है, what is the transactions that are taking place from that account, or let's say if you have taken a loan from any particular account, all this information could be transferred to any other financial institution who is in need of this data or this information. So a blanket approval was given earlier. But after this, जो भी NBFCs हैं who have got AA licenses, so the NBFCs who have got AA licenses, they are working as account aggregators. Now, need basis पे ही आपका information is transferred, only on need basis. So every other process needs approval from the individual for sharing information. So the information is not shared through a blanket approval or an umbrella approval. So this process of transfer of information or sharing information has become easy. So the correct answer here is account aggregator. I hope आप सब लोगों को पता है what is GSTN, GST network. ONDC बहुत न्यूज में था, ओपन नेटवर्क डिजिटल कॉमर्स, वेरी मच इन न्यूज. GSAP ऑपरेशन ट्विस्ट, डू नॉट गेट कंफ्यूज्ड. ये करेक्ट डायरेक्ट वेरी इजी क्वेश्चन है. अकाउंट एग्रीगेटर इज द करेक्ट आंसर हियर. ओके, द सेकंड क्वेश्चन इज अबाउट LTRO, लॉन्ग टर्म रेपो ऑपरेशंस. Okay, now long-term repo operations, they work just like repo operations. What happens in a repo is RBI gives loans to banks, or through this RBI injects liquidity in the economy. Banks एक collateral provide करते हैं to the RBI through which it gets a loan or liquidity. So banks who are in need of liquidity, repo operations ke through they can get liquidity. Now what happens in a long term repo operations is this same process happens for a longer period of time, let's say 3 years, usually 3 years. So during COVID-19, RBI brought out this targeted long term repo operations for 3 years in 2020-2021 during COVID. तो targeted long term repo operations इसलिए न्यूज में थे. In descriptive answer, descriptive question, it was asked to write a short note on LTRO in 2021 exam. 2022, RBI 2022 का phase 2 में a question was asked to write a descriptive answer on LTRO. Let's look at the options. It is aimed at injecting liquidity in the economy. That is correct. It injects liquidity in the economy. Under this, the Reserve Bank conducts auctions of targeted term repo operations up to 3 years tenure. Correct. Then under this, on-tap facility was provided to banks to purchase security. This is also correct. What does this mean? On-tap facility means RBI ने अब एक duration दे ली है, let's suppose for 1 year or 2 year, and on-tap facility is provided, which means banks, whenever they need liquidity, whenever banks are in need of liquidity, through an on-tap facility, they can ask for liquidity from banks or avail loans. So all the statements are correct. Third question, which of the following statement is incorrect about RBI's digital payment index? RBI publishes digital payment index annually every year. This is incorrect. So it is semi-annually, not annually. So सितंबर का डेटा आता है एंड मार्च डेटा. सो रिसेंटली सितंबर 2022 का डेटा आया था इन द मंथ ऑफ फेब्रुअरी एंड the digital payment index was 377.46. Now, what is the base year of DPI, digital payment index? The base year was 2018. इसको 100 map करा गया था. That was the base year for 2018 and currently in September 2022, it was 377. Okay, अब digital payment index में 5 parameters होते हैं. In this index, 5 parameters are mapped. Performance indicators, performance enablers, performance infrastructure, and then payment enablers, payment infrastructure, payment performers, and consumer centricity. Okay, so 5 parameters पे payment index map करा जाता है. So here this statement is incorrect, this statement is incorrect, and the second statement is correct. So first and 1 and 3 are incorrect. Okay. Which of the following is correct about parameters of RBI's digital payment index? Another question about digital payment index बहुत important है exam के लिए because अभी February में September month का data आया था. That's why it is very important. Okay, the payment enablers include mobile, internet, and participants. Payment enablers. These are enablers through which one can make payment. They enable you to make payments. The highest weightage is given to payment performers. This is correct. 45%. Yes, 45%. Consumer centricity includes ATM, POS. No, this is infrastructure. Payment infrastructure में आते हैं ये, not in consumer centricity. Okay. Yes, so the last statement is incorrect here. Correct statement will be 1 and 2. Option C is the right answer. Question number 5. As per the economic survey, which of the following are several challenges faced by startups? ऐसे questions बहुत ज़्यादा आने लगे हैं, especially in phase 1. They ask you questions from economic survey. What has been IMF's stance, and they are now asking you reasons also. So IMF has reduced the projections of GDP for India. What are the reasons? तो ऐसे economic survey related questions आते हैं. So as per economic survey, which of the following are several challenges faced by startups? Funding hurdles? Yes. Revenue generation struggles? Yes. Easy access to supportive infrastructure? No. Lack of easy access to supportive infrastructure. A complex regulatory tax environment? Yes. So 1, 2 and 4 statement are correct. Okay. So all the people who are sitting here and answering, that's very good. Sonal, Malik, Kripesh, amazing. 6th question. Which of the following is described in the statement below? Under this, any unlisted company, usually a startup enterprise, in receipt of investment which is above the fair value, will have to treat extraneous capital as income from other sources, which would be identified and taxed. So what happens is, there is a startup who needs funding and investment. What they do is, angel investors say they ask for investment. These are angel investors who invest in startups. Okay, so high net worth individuals basically who invest in startups, उनको कहते हैं angel investors. So what happens is, एक startup की fair value, market value, fair value analyze करी जाती है. And let's suppose the fair value is 5 crore and an angel investors wants to invest 50% in this company. Therefore, as per this calculation, they will invest for a share, for a 50% share, they will give 2.5 crore. However, let's suppose now they, between themselves, value this at 10 crore, at higher value, at 10 crore. And as per 50% share, now if the angel investor wants to hold 50% equity in that startup, they will invest 5 crore. Now, essentially, they had to get 2.5 crore, but because of this overvaluation, of fair value, fair market value, they got 5 crore, which is 2.5 crore extra. Now, on this, they will have to pay angel tax because this will be income from other sources for the startup. So, this becomes income from other sources for the startups, and they will have to give angel tax. 2.5 ka over and above the fair value. So the correct answer here is angel tax. Which of the following statement is are correct about the new budget 2023-2024? The ambit of angel tax will now include taxes on capital raised by non-resident investors. This was true. तो इसीलिए angel tax news में था, because now angel tax will be applied on any investment received from NRIs. Allocation to ROTTEP scheme, remission of duties and taxes on exported products. Remission of duties and taxes on exported products. So the government wants कि taxes जो है उनको export ना किया जाए. Taxes should not be exported. So products pay, all the products that are exported, the taxes on those should be remitted back to the exporter. उसकी remission हो जाए. So they should be remitted back या refund मिल जाए to the exporter. So इंपॉर्टेंट स्कीम है ये अंडर द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कॉमर्स. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट स्कीम. आई होप आप सब लोगों ने पीआईबी में तो पढ़ी होगी. सो दिस बजट हैज इंक्रीज्ड बाय 10% टू 15,069 crore in the budget. This is correct statement. Now, allocation to ROSCTL, remission of state and central taxes levies. This scheme is just like this ROTTEP scheme. However, this scheme is working for the textile sector. Therefore, Ministry of Textile के अंदर आती है ये scheme. Again, PIB में please पढ़ लीजिएगा. And it has increased to 7461 crore. No, it is I think 8501 crore. Somewhere around 8405 crore. Yes. So this is the amount, and this was earlier. So यहाँ से 7461 crore से it is now 8405 crore. Again, both the schemes are important because budget में आई है तो definitely आपके exams में आ सकती हैं. From ESI point of view, please ये दोनों schemes पढ़िएगा. Now, which of the following ministry announced the ROTTEP scheme? Just discussed, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Which of the following ministry first launched a scheme by the name of ROSC? Okay, so initially it was ROSL, rebate of state levies. Further, इसका नाम पड़ा ROSCL, state and central levies. So this was under Ministry of Textile. Which of the following features of PIDF scheme? Important scheme है, Payment Infrastructure Development Fund. A question was asked last year in finance 2021 में आया हुआ था, paper 2, phase 2 finance में a question was asked from PIDF. Okay, the scheme aims to subsidize banks and non-banks for deploying payment infrastructure. So what happens in this scheme is एक fund बनाया है RBI ने. RBI has created a fund, 350 crore का corpus है जिसमें RBI will contribute 250 crore and 100 crore will be contributed by card networks. So under the scheme a fund will be created and through this fund payment infrastructure development के लिए subsidy मिलेगी to both banks and non-banks. So banks, non-banks or anyone who is promoting this payment infrastructure through deployment of POS machines, point of sale machines. So I'm sure shopping के time पे आपने देखी होगी all the machines wherein you can swipe your card, or now even through QR code mechanism के through you make payment using UPI. So all these machine, point of sale devices, point of sale machine come under payment system or payment infrastructure. So anything that is promoting the payment infrastructure, वहाँ से आपको इस fund से subsidy मिलेगी. 250 crore is contributed by the RBI and 100 crore by card networks. Further, annually भी in card networks को they have to pay amount to this fund. They have to pay amount to this fund on transaction basis. So 1 basis point पे, for every rupee transaction, 1 basis point की they have to pay the amount in this fund. Okay. The contribution in this fund is done by RBI of 250 crore and the government which contributes 100 crore. It is actually the card networks. The fund will be monitored by RBI, the IBA and PCI, the Payment Council of India. Correct statement, important statement. अगर exam में आ गई तो please you should know what is PIDF. Which of the following features of PIDF scheme are incorrect? Okay, incorrect बताना है. Under the scheme, the banks and card providers can avail subsidy from other organizations. So, if a bank or card providers, so card network providers, card providers, and if under the scheme they are receiving any benefit from this fund, they cannot avail subsidy from any other organization. So, अगर आप इस fund से आप benefit ले रहे हैं, you cannot avail any benefit from any other organization like NABARD or SEBI, etc. So, this statement is incorrect. PIDF shall also receive annual contribution from card networks and card issuing banks. This is correct. Under the scheme, subsidy is provided on yearly basis. This is incorrect. It is provided on quarterly basis. So, like I said, अब इस fund में contribution होगी by the RBI, by the card network, and further, this fund will be used to provide subsidy to card networks. Now, this subsidy will be provided in quarterly basis. Quarterly basis पे subsidy will be provided. Okay, which of the following is our features of REITs and InvITs? REITs and InvITs बहुत बारी पढ़ा है. Real estate investment trust and InvITs. Okay, now REITs and InvITs work like mutual funds. This is correct. So they work like mutual fund. What happens is, what is a mutual fund? They are nothing but pool of assets, pool of investment from various investors. सारे investors मिलके they contribute certain amount. In investors को बोला जाता है unit holders. They are known as unit holders. They invest in a mutual fund, and this mutual fund invest their money in, any scheme or any project. Now, under REITs and InvITs, these projects are related to real estate or any investment trust. Okay, so REITs and InvITs, they further invest in real estate. These mutual funds. So these are called as REITs and InvITs, work like mutual funds only. InvITs own and operate real estate properties, generating regular income and capital appreciation in this investment. This is not InvITs, this is REITs, Real Estate Investment Trust. They are regulated by NSE? No, they are regulated by SEBI. NSE is just a stock exchange. SEBI पे regulate होते हैं. SEBI regulates them. So, which of the following are features? This is correct, this is incorrect, and this is correct. C. Okay. The next question is, under the Central Repository of Information on Large Creditors. Now, what is it? It is only a repository, a database of all the creditors, database of all the creditors, कितने lenders से उन creditors ने loan लिया है. And now we have to tell you, the question is asking non-fund based exposure of borrowers for which banks have to furnish the credit information. क्या exposure होना चाहिए एक borrower का? What should be? So information of borrowers, not creditors, information of borrower. So yes, so information of borrowers. What should be the exposure of borrowers? This should exceed 5 crore. That is when they are known as large borrowers. Large borrowers इनको बोला जाता है. And the correct answer here is 5 crore. When their exposure exceeds 5 crore, that is when the borrowings is more than 5 crore, then CIRLC पे banks को information provide करनी पड़ती है about various borrowers. Recently monetary policy statement, a very important question, because recent जो भी monetary policy statement आती है, that becomes important for your exam. So let's say the next monetary policy statement is going to come in April or May, and if after that your exam takes place, तो ये important हो जाएगी monetary policy statement. However, currently February की monetary policy statement is very important for all of you. Recently, MPS monetary policy statement was issued, in which the policy repo rate has been increased by 25 basis point. Now, what is the repo rate? बहुत important है. What is the repo rate? It is 6.5%. If the repo rate increases by 25 basis point, is increased by 25 basis point in this monetary policy statement, then SDF क्या होगा? So SDF जो है, it is mapped through the repo rate. So we have the repo rate in the middle, MSF and SDF. SDF forms the floor rate and MSF forms the ceiling rate. And इनके basis and इनके बीच में there is 25 basis point का gap. So the correct answer here is SDF. SDF is less 25 basis point से कम है than the repo rate, and MSF is 25 basis point से ज़्यादा, because it forms the ceiling rate. Okay. In the monetary policy statement, what is the projected GDP growth rate for India for FY23 as per first advance estimate? NSO के data के according monetary policy statement ने ये data pick करा था. The correct answer is 7% for this financial year. That is the expected GDP. In the monetary policy statement, what is the stance that is decided by the MPC? So there are a lot of stance that a monetary policy committee takes in the monetary policy statement. Accommodative, hawkish, neutral, tightening, calibrated withdrawal. These are all the stance that a monetary policy statement can make. In hawkish, बहुत ज़्यादा rate increase होता है. So there is huge increase or hike in the repo rate. For example, 100 basis point, 200 basis point. Neutral mein the same rate is there. RBI doesn't change, increase or decrease the rate. Tightening में again it increases the rate. Calibrated withdrawal में RBI's focus is कि जो liquidity infuse हुई थी, it should be withdrawn. There should be withdrawal of that liquidity. So this time it was calibrated withdrawal because there was an increase in the repo rate. Okay, dash is a financial transaction and a type of debtor finance in which the business sells its account receivable to a third party. So what happens is invoices को a debtor अपने invoices को they sell it their account receivable. They sell their account receivable to a third party to receive any amount and उस पे discount apply होता है. And when because they are in need of immediate cash. That is when it happens, and this process is known as factoring. It is a financial transaction wherein it is a type of debtor finance wherein account receivable of an entity is transferred to a third party when this entity is in need of immediate cash. उस पे एक थोड़ा सा discount levi करके they can receive immediate cash by selling their invoices. That is account receivable. Which of the following statements are true regarding consumer confidence survey? Now, we did this in the month of February, consumer confidence survey. RBI brings out a lot of surveys. One of this is important one, consumer confidence survey. It is a bi-monthly survey published by NSO. No, it is published by RBI, not NSO. Now, the survey obtains two major perception, current perception and long-term perception, that is for 3 years. This might look like a right statement, but it is not long-term perception, it is future expectation. So what happens is, does the consumer out there, is he or she confident about the economy, about the economic conditions, about the demand that is going to be there? What is the perception of a consumer? So it is mapped in current perception, abhi jo perception chal raha hai in this current period, and future expectation, next 1 year ka, what is the perception of any consumer about economy or is he confident about the economic conditions, right? So ye map hota hai. This is future expectation for 1 year. A consumer confidence index above 100% above 100 means that there is optimistic perception. Agar 100 se zyada hai, then it means that the consumer is optimistic, positive. Okay. Which of the following is not a survey given by RBI? बहुत easy है. Consumer confidence survey अभी हमने पढ़ा. Inflation expectation survey, wherein inflation की क्या expectation रहेगी economy में by the consumers out there? What are their expectation of inflation? Because this will determine their spending pattern. If they are expecting high inflation, their spending pattern will be different. However, if they are expecting that there will be low inflation, their spending pattern will be different. GDP survey is not one of the surveys that is brought out by RBI. Which of the following fintech firm has recently launched UPI International, wherein users traveling to international destinations can pay foreign merchants via UPI? So this was brought out by PhonePe, wherein if you are a PhonePe user and now you travel abroad, using UPI you can make international transaction merchant payments online through UPI. As per the new broadened framework of SEBI, what is the minimum and maximum period for subscription for issue of green bonds? Now, green debt securities. Now, SEBI came out with green debt securities ka framework, IOSCO. SEBI is a member of IOSCO. Just like Basel organization ka RBI is a member of Basel organization. Similarly, IOSCO stock exchange mechanism mein work karta hai, and SEBI is a member of this. So they brought out a broader framework for green debt securities. Now, to bring the framework in line with this IOSCO guidelines, SEBI brought out a framework for green debt securities. So under this, what happens is, बहुत तरीके की green debt securities, a company can raise debt through these green debt securities. For example, blue bond, yellow bond. Blue bond, this will work in the marine sector. Yellow bond, this will work in the solar sector. Now, these blue bonds, yellow bonds, it means that any investment that is raised by any company, the money that is raised, it will be, in projects में जाएगा, it will be applied in projects, such projects which are working towards the marine sector or solar sector. Okay, so the money will be utilized in such projects that are working towards the marine sector. Already last year $7 billion की investment receive हुई थी through the ESG platform, ESG exchange, for the ESG framework, right? Environment, social and governance norms. Okay, so अब SEBI ने the framework included that the subscription for any debt securities will be open for minimum 3 days and maximum 10 days. Further, if there is any change in any norm or any issue, agar issue date mein, price mein, if there is any change that the company needs to bring, then further the subscription can be increased to 3 days. However, the maximum amount of time for which a subscription should be open is only 10 days. 10 days tak hi the subscription will be open, including this 3-day ka increase. Okay, so the correct answer here is 3 and 10 days. Minimum 3, maximum 10 days ke liye the subscription can be opened. Okay, recently RBI allowed foreign nationals to use PPI. This was under monetary policy statement में जो statement आती है, statement of developmental policies, उसमें it was announced that foreign nationals can now use UPI through PPI. PPI, okay. Which of the following statement in this regard are incorrect? Prepaid payment instruments. Prepaid payment instruments. This facility is available to travelers from Asian countries? No. It was for G20 countries. We all know India is holding the presidency of G20 for the next 1 year. And this will be extended to other countries. The correct answer here is, so this statement is incorrect. G20 countries के लिए था. And how will they be able to use UPI? Through PPI, prepaid payment instruments. So आपके wallet में, in your wallet, you can get amount transferred, and using UPI, you can make transaction, person to merchant transactions in India if you are a foreign national from a G20 country. The PPI can be issued in the form of wallets, which will be linked to UPI. I just explained it here. Loading and reloading of such PPIs shall be against receipt of foreign exchange. Now, this loading, how is this loading of money done? So, foreign exchange jab aapne kara hai, if any foreign national, when they exchange their currency into Indian currency, then the receipt of foreign exchange transaction by cash or through any other payment instrument, when an exchange is happening, jo uski receipt aayegi, uske against such wallet will be loaded, and through UPI you can make transactions. I hope it is clear. Important hai, इसी साल की मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी स्टेटमेंट में आया है, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर योर एग्जाम. व्हाट इज पीपीआई, व्हाट इज यूपीआई, कौन सी कंट्रीज के फॉरेन नेशनल्स को अलाउड है, G20, everything here is important, especially related to this news. Okay, which of the following are incorrect regarding requirement for achieving interoperability through PPI? What is interoperability? When using one mechanism, you can make payment in another mechanism also. So for example, a metro card, let's say the government brings out that you can use this metro card on buses as well. So this means it has become interoperable. Similarly, if you have a Paytm wallet and you have to transfer money to somebody who is using Google Pay, or let's say directly to somebody's bank account, so using UPI you can make bank account में transfer directly, or Paytm wallet से Paytm wallet में तो होता ही है, that is there. But if you have to transfer money to Google wallet or Amazon Pay या फिर bank account में, this is done through UPI. This process is interoperability. So where PPI are issued in the form of wallets, I just explained Paytm wallet का example. When PPIs are issued in the form of wallets, interoperability is ensured through UPI. Yes. Where PPI are issued in the form of cards, तो interoperability कैसे ensure होगी? Card networks authorize करेंगे if their card can be interoperable or can be used in any other location. So for example, एक Amex का card है, and you can use this card in several other places. Let's suppose Amazon Pay से आप इसमें payment कर सकते हो. So this is authorized by that card network. Okay. PPI-MTS, that is mass transit system, shall remain exempted from interoperability. Now, it depends on the mass transit system operator. They want to give interoperability option or not. So, for example, Metro card, if they tell you you cannot use this Metro card anywhere else, means there is no interoperability, and which is possible because they are exempted from this regulation of PPI-MTS. This is also a correct statement. Which of the following cannot be a co-branding partner in case of issuance of PPI? So PPI instruments can be issued by bank network in collaborating or co-branding with any other bank also. So आपने देखा होगा एक card network, they sometimes collaborate with any any wallet provider or any payment service provider or any other bank. They often collaborate or co-brand करते हैं. So they can do it with a bank or a fintech company, let's say Paytm. Government department, definitely. NGOs, so NGOs is not possible, but a company which is registered under a Companies Act 2003, it is 13, it is possible with that. Which of the following statement is correct about Financial Literacy Week? बहुत important है for your exam, Financial Literacy Week. The theme for 2023 is Go Digital, Go Secure. This is incorrect. This was the theme for 2022. Okay, so this was the theme for 2022. Then, the theme for RBI has been conducting Financial Literacy Week every year since 2018. No, it is since 2016, not 2018. Okay. Focus will be on creating awareness about saving, planning and budgeting. This is a correct statement. Focus of Financial Literacy Week. अब इसका focus हम सबको वैसे ही समझ आ गया है. The aim is to spread awareness about and to create, everybody, to make everybody literate about all the financial options that a person can have through RBI, through banks, or if government is providing any financial services, right? So making everybody aware of that, making people literate about everything that is connected with the finances of a person. Save कैसे कर सकते हैं, insurance option available है आपके पास. So इन सब की आपको you should be literate about that and you should be aware about that. That is the function of this Financial Literacy Week, to make awareness about savings, planning, budgeting, options, services available. Which of the following is not the cause for disparity? Here it is divergence between WPI and CPI. High weightage of food in WPI. Okay, so the food weightage is not high in WPI, it is high in CPI. The food weightage is high in CPI, it is around 48%, and I think in WPI it is around 24%, 23%. High weightage of fuel in CPI. Again, incorrect. High weightage of fuel is in WPI and not CPI. Cost push inflation impacts WPI more than CPI. This is a correct statement. So WPI is wholesale price index. जब cost of production increases, it impacts wholesale prices rather than consumer prices or consumer price index. Now, consumer price index is impacted because of demand pull inflation. Okay. So, first and second statement are correct. Not the cause, third. Not the cause, third. Just a second. Okay. Recently, in the month of December 2023, the CPI inflation was 5.72. However, RBI increased the repo rate by 25 basis points in the monetary policy statement. What is the CPI inflation in the month of January? Okay, so this is the events that took place. December mein inflation was 5.72, because of which a lot of experts thought कि अब RBI will have a neutral stance or maximum increase भी कर सकता है. But they were not sure. The experts were not sure about it. What will be the stance of RBI? However, RBI increased the repo rate in the next monetary policy statement in February. Now, what happened in February? The January data came out and everybody was expecting that inflation is finally going down. Inflation finally 2 to 6% की band में आ रहा है. Inflation was 5.72 in the month of December. But what happened in January, when on 12th, 13th Feb को जब January का data आया, we found out that inflation was 6.52%. So again, it increased from 2 to 6%. अब now the justification that RBI increased its repo rate, now it was finally justified. The decision of RBI to increase the repo rate, it was finally justified because the inflation is 6.52. now if you can tell me what is the inflation in the month of February, अभी recently 12th March को and 14th March को ये data आया है about the month of February. If you can please tell me what is the inflation data, what is CPI in the month of February, or if you can tell me is it more than 6% or less than 6%. Okay, so the correct answer here is A. In the month of January it was 6.52. okay, now which of the following are the factors because of which RBI's monetary policy tightening targets inflation? Monetary policy tightening हो रही है means repo increase हो रहा है. Now decreased to 6.44%. That is correct. In February, the inflation, the CPI is 6.44%. You are absolutely correct. Okay. So monetary policy tightening हो रही है means repo rate increase हो रहा है. Now the repo rate, by increasing the repo rate, does RBI wants to increase demand or decrease demand? What is the purpose? It is to decrease demand ताकि inflation कम हो जाए. Reduce the borrowing cost of consumer? No, it is to increase the borrowing cost of consumer because अगर borrowing cost increase होगी, people will borrow less and thus inflation कम होगा. It reduces credit growth. This is also correct because if demand of credit, the borrowing cost is increased, again demand of credit कम होगी and credit growth कम होगी. Reducing tax rate का कोई direct connection MPT से हमें नहीं दिख रहा है. So this statement is incorrect. The first, second and third statement are correct. Which of the following are factors because of which RBI's monetary policy target inflation? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 का option क्यों नहीं है? Reduces borrowing cost of consumer. It increases the borrowing cost. It reduces the credit growth. This is correct. So third statement is correct. And option number C is correct. 1, 2 and 4 is correct. Okay. Which of the following is the theme for RBI's global hackathon? Harbinger. बहुत easy और बहुत अच्छा question है. Again, an important question from exam point of view. The correct answer here is inclusive digital services. Harbinger 2023. Please पढ़िएगा. When was Harbinger started? What is the purpose of Harbinger? What is the theme of this year? What was the theme of last year? Important exam में definitely phase 1 में तो आ ही सकता है. Recently, RBI gave clarity on certain digital lending norms. Yes, तो FAQs में RBI FAQ section में digital lending norms पे कुछ clarity आई थी. Which of the following statements are incorrect about digital lending? Even if some physical interface with consumer is present, the lending will still fall under the definition of digital lending. Okay. Yes, this statement is actually correct. So as per RBI FAQs mein RBI told that even if there is some physical interface, so what happens in digital lending is through digital lending platforms, digital lending apps के through banks provide, either banks apps के through provide करते हैं या एक third party which is lending service provider, इसके through आपको consumers get loans. A bank lends. So either through digital lending apps or through third party, and in third party का भी आगे digital lending apps हो सकता है. So it is all done digitally. However, if there is any physical interface involved, for example KYC mechanism के लिए physical interface involved है, collection process के लिए physical interface involved है. So RBI says as long as largely everything is done digitally, it falls under the definition of digital lending. Now, however, if there is some physical interface involved, it can still be under digital lending process. EMI programs on credit card will be covered under guidelines of digital lending. So this was actually the clarification given by RBI. EMI programs on credit card will not be covered in guidelines of digital lending. They will be covered under the master directions of card payment. Master direction of card payment. However, as per the guidelines of digital lending, it will be applicable to any loans that are offered on debit cards. Loans that are offered on debit cards, इसमें digital lending guidelines apply होंगी. Okay, only EMI programs on credit cards, इसमें digital lending guidelines नहीं apply होंगी. Master direction of card lending, इसकी guidelines apply होगी. So the second statement here is incorrect. Which of the following statement is are correct regarding digital lending guidelines? Again, loan servicing repayment shall be executed by the borrower directly in the RE's account. What is RE? RE is a regulated entity here. Like I said, एक third party involved होती है, lending service provider, and they provide loans to the borrowers through a third party. So now loan servicing or repayment shall be executed by the borrower directly in the RE's bank account. That is correct. So any amount will be transferred to the consumer from the RE, and जो भी the payment will be received by RE. LSP का काम सिर्फ as a third party agent, they work as an agent, outsource किया जाता है कुछ functions, for example KYC or collection of collection of data or collection of loans. So वो सब काम they are transferred to the LSP. However, any transaction that is taking place is through RE's account to consumer account, and these LSPs, they cannot pool any amount on behalf of REs. So it shall be executed by the borrower directly in the RE's bank account. The rate of penal charges shall be disclosed on an annualized basis to the borrower in key fact statement. This is actually correct. So if there is any penal charges levied by the RE to the borrower, they have to be disclosed on an annualized basis in the key fact statement. एक key fact statement आएगी जिसमें सारे facts mentioned होंगे. This will be given to the borrower, and इसमें penal charges के बारे में बताना होगा. Now, fee charges payable by the RE to LSP. Yes, LSP अब third party है, they are working as agents of RE, then they have to get, they receive fee from the REs. So fee or any charges payable by the RE to LSP can be charged by borrower under the loan agreement? No. So the agreement is between RE and LSP, lending service provider. They cannot be charged by the borrower. This is between RE and LSP. So this statement is incorrect. First and second are correct here. Which of the following statements are incorrect about balance of payment? बहुत अच्छा question है balance of payment का, बहुत easy है. It is a systemic record of economic transaction between residents of a country. No, non-residents and residents. Capital account shows export import of visibles. It is actually current account that shows export and import of visible, non-visible. Current account shows net flow of both private and public investment into a country. So FDI and FPIs जो होती हैं, they are shown in the capital account, not current account. This statement is also incorrect. आपको incorrect statement बतानी है इसमें. Which of the following statement is incorrect about payment aggregators? Under payment aggregators, merchants have to create a separate payment integration system of their own. नहीं, तो इसी चीज को avoid करने के लिए ही they are using payment aggregators, so that they do not have to maintain separate payment integration system, right? So एक merchant aggregators, they aggregate money from consumers who are making payments, and जो gateway होते हैं, there is something known as payment gateway. Now this is only one particular gateway working towards one sector. Let's suppose एक बैंक का gateway है, ICICI बैंक ने gateway निकाला है. Any payment that is supposed to be made through any account holder of ICICI bank to any merchant, this can be done through a gateway. However, payment aggregators, they combine a lot of different gateways. They pool money on behalf of the receiver of the money, merchant, and finally merchant को payment दे देते हैं. So merchant के लिए what is the benefit? They do not have to maintain separate payment integration system of their own of all the gateways. That's why they have hired payment aggregators. Okay. Now PAs receive payment from customers, pool and transfer them on the merchant after transfer them to the merchant after a certain period of time. This is actually a correct statement. That is the function of PAs, payment aggregators. PAs are entities that provide technology infrastructure to route and facilitate processing of. This is just a gateway. तो gateway सिर्फ एक infrastructure provide करता है आपको. A payment gateway only provides you an infrastructure, not an aggregating service. Aggregating service means they will pool the money for a certain period of time on behalf of the merchant and then transfer it to the merchant. That is a payment aggregator. Payment gateway क्या करता है? They just provide you an infrastructure. Okay. So the third statement here talks about payment gateway. Yes. So the इसमें आपको incorrect statement बतानी थी. The correct answer is A. Which of the following statement is our correct about recently released draft government security lending guidelines. Yes, इसमें हमने short sale process पढ़ा था. What happens is, in case somebody who is in need, this is a borrower, somebody, any bank is in need of any long term security or short term security, and there is a lender who has excess securities, इनके पास idle securities हैं. What they can do is they can lend it for a short period of time. They can lend it to the borrower can receive these securities and further एक collateral देंगे. And after that, let's suppose 91 day या 90 day का ये transaction है. After 90 days, the lender will, receive back the security and the collateral will be given back to the borrower जो उनका collateral था, and a fee will be charged by the lender कि please give a fee for, because I have lent you the securities. So, lending and borrowing of government securities. Government securities issued by the central government, excluding the T-bill, should be eligible for lending borrowing under GSL transaction. This is actually a correct statement. Excluding T-bill. Government securities issued by the central government, including the T-bill and the state government's securities, shall be eligible for placing as collateral. Now here we are talking about collateral. Here we were talking about lending and borrowing. Both the statements here are correct. GSL transactions shall be undertaken for a minimum period of 1 day and maximum period of 90 days. Correct statement. Okay. So all the statements here are correct. Our answer is all of the above. We had to find out the correct statement. Dash means a settlement mechanism which stipulates the transfer of securities from borrower of securities. Okay, the transfer of securities from the borrower of securities is made simultaneously with the transfer of securities by the lender of security, which means जब borrower ने security receive कर ली, उसी time lender ने, let's change it. When lender has lent the securities, that is when the borrower has received the securities. And similarly, when borrower has given the collateral, at the same time the lender receives the collateral. तो ये delivery versus delivery mechanism है. It is happening simultaneously. Simultaneously it is taking place. Now what is T+1 settlement is जब आपके account में next day reflect होता है what is the debit or credit of securities. Okay, T+1 settlement when the next day you get the securities, or your account reflects a credit or debit balance. Over the counter, exchange traded, लोनी settlement. लोनी settlement was a made up word. I hope आप सब लोगों को ये पता होगा. The correct answer here is delivery versus delivery. Exchange traded settlement एक exchange traded mechanism होता है wherein exchange पे, stock exchange पे open transactions होती हैं for all the available investors or all the people who are interested in the stock exchange, members of the stock exchange. Over the counter क्या होता है OTC market में जब दो लोगों के बीच में एक personalized transaction होती है of securities, that is over the counter mechanism. Which of the following is our securities eligible for SLR? Very good question. एक question RBI में phase 1 में आया हुआ है. State development loans of state governments, correct. Dated securities of the government, definitely. T-bills, definitely. AA rated corporated bonds, this is incorrect. Dash is a new payment solution to process low value transaction using money stored in Dash wallet. The correct answer here is UPI Lite. Okay, तो ये I think सबको पता ही होगा. What is UPI 123? Offline के लिए आया था UPI 123 feature phones के लिए. Now UPI Lite is low value transactions के लिए आया था. Similarly offline भी आप इसमें कर सकते हैं. Initially it was only for debit transactions, which means if I have to I have to debit my account, debit करना है account तो offline हो जाएगा. But further credit transaction के लिए भी आया था, which means if I have to receive any money, credit कराना है अपना account तो भी वो offline हो जाएगा. This was done in phase 2. Then USDD based UPI transactions भी UPI का पार्ट है. UPI 2.0 UPI के बाद ही आया था. भारत bill payments के लिए होता है. Okay, accessible anytime solution for bill payment के लिए भारत bill payment operating system. Next question. RBI undertook emergency measure to shield the economy from COVID-19 crisis. I hope you're answering it side by side. Yes, I see a lot of you answering the questions. RBI undertook emergency measures to shield the economy from COVID-19 crisis in 2020. Liquidity in the banking system has broadly remained at surplus. तब से 2020 में RBI ने जब inject करी थी liquidity in the economy, since that it has been in surplus. Now, RBI resorted to LTRO measures. अभी हमने पढ़ा है to inject liquidity. Which of the following is our correct about LTRO? This facility can be availed by banks as and when the need of liquidity arises. Yes, on tap facility. It is carried out through e-Kuber mechanism. Yes, e-Kuber mechanism है RBI का for repo operations or any other operations wherein banks have to deal with RBI. It was aimed to increase the rate of interest in short-term loans. This statement, to increase the rate of interest in short-term loans, this is actually an incorrect statement. It was to decrease the rate of interest. Because उस time पे already rate high थे, the RBI wanted to decrease the rate of interest by injecting liquidity in the economy. Therefore, the aim was to decrease the rate of interest. The capital requirement for Dash is designed to protect against an adverse movement in the price of an individual security. Here, the keyword is individual security, owing to factors related to the individual issuer. Now, here we are talking about specific risk. When any individual security पे कोई risk capture होता है या any adverse movement in the price of any security, individual security, that is mapped through specific risk. Now, general risk में क्या होता है? So, all the entire portfolio of securities of a bank or any financial institution, the entire portfolio of securities is mapped. Any price change in that, किस पोर्टफोलियो में या किन सिक्योरिटीज में लॉन्ग पोजीशन है, कहाँ पे शॉर्ट पोजीशन है, इसको ऑफसेट करा जाता है. सो फॉर एग्जांपल देयर आर फ्यू सिक्योरिटीज जहाँ पे लॉन्ग पोजीशन लिया हुआ है हमने, दैट इज वी आर गोइंग टू बाय द सिक्योरिटीज. कहीं पे शॉर्ट पोजीशन है, सेल करेंगे हम सिक्योरिटीज को. नाउ ऑफसेट करा जाता है इसको एंड में. दिस इज डन in general risk, wherein a lot of securities or portfolios of securities is taken into consideration, but the price mapping, adverse movement of prices mapped in any individual securities, it is specific risk. For which of the following purpose are the financial instruments held for in the trading book? Yes, ये हमने पढ़ा था. ट्रेडिंग और बैंकिंग दो तरीके की बुक आती है जिसमें सिक्योरिटीज, banking, financial instruments को either they are there in the trading book or recorded in the banking book. Now trading book में which types of financial instruments are recorded या which purpose के लिए they are recorded? Short term resale के लिए, yes, they are there in trading book. Profit from short term price movements, yes. Locking in arbitrage profits, yes, this is one of the purposes for which a financial instrument is kept in a trading book. Then hedging risk arising from these instruments, yes. So all of these here is the correct answer. Let's move to the next question. Which of the following statements are correct about RBI guidelines on minimum capital requirement? Capital for market risk includes securities which have already matured and remain unpaid. This is actually incorrect. So any securities that is already mature या फिर unpaid है, they are actually treated like NPAs और इन पे market risk नहीं होता, इन पे credit risk होता है. I hope आपको याद होगा the risks that are supposed to be maintained, किन risk basis पे capital is to be maintained under the CRAR mechanism, under Basel norms, what are the 3 risks? Now, market risk basis पे नहीं होता, credit risk basis पे होता है. Any security which has already matured or remain unpaid, they are treated like non-performing assets only. Okay, statement 2. Market risk is defined as the risk of losses in on and off sheet balance sheet positions arising from movements in the market prices. This is a correct statement. The capital requirement for general market risk are designed to capture the risk of loss arising from changes in market risks. This is also a correct statement. Okay. Capital requirement for general market risk are designed to capture the risk of loss arising from changes in market interest rate. Yes, they come under general market risk and iske liye capital requirement is maintained for general market risk. A correct statement. The first statement here is incorrect. Second and 3 are correct. Which of the following statements are correct about GSEC issued by RBI on behalf of government? Very, very, very important question. GSEC का concept हमेशा से ही important रहता है. GSEC are issued through auctions by RBI. Yes, definitely true. GSECs offer maximum safety. बिल्कुल सही, because sovereign का commitment है. They are backed by the sovereign government. GSECs are available in a wide range of maturities from 91 days as long as 40 days. Yes, dated securities and short-term securities, T-bills, to suit the duration of varied liability. This is correct. तीनों statement यहाँ पे सही हैं. Which of the following statement is correct about T-bills? 43A. 43 का आंसर सी है। 43 का आंसर ई है। यस, 43 का आंसर ई है। ऑल द स्टेटमेंट्स हियर आर करेक्ट। यस। 44, which of the following statement is are correct about T-bills issued by RBI on behalf of government? ठीक है। T-bills are long-term obligations of the government? No, they are actually short-term obligations. They are instruments issued at a discount to the face value and form an integral part of money market. They are issued at discount to the face value. This is correct. 100 रुपये का टी बिल है, so you will get it at 98 and इस पे अब yield calculate करेंगे। 2 रुपये का आपको जो है that is the discounted value and you will get 100 rupees on maturity. In India, the central government issues both T-bills and bonds or dated securities, while the state government, now important point है ये, central government can issue T-bills and dated securities, that is the long-term securities. However, the state government can issue bonds or dated securities and not T-bills. Okay. The statement is also correct. The first statement was incorrect. It is a short-term obligation. So second and third statement here are correct. The correct answer will be B. Recently, the government of India allowed low-cost real-time cross-border payment link through UPI. बहुत important, बहुत easy question है. The correct answer here is Singapore. Remittances के लिए we know Singapore से कितनी सारी हमें remittances आती है. For that, it is important कि cross-border linkage system बनाया जाए through UPI and Singapore का था Pay Now if you remember. Which of the following banks have been given approval by the RBI that can issue UPI-linked wallets to foreign nationals traveling from G20 countries? अभी ही हमने न्यूज़ पढ़ी थी कि inbound travelers from G20 countries P2M mechanism के लिए they will get PPI instruments के through they can make purchases using UPI. Now, which are these banks who have been allowed this? ICICI and IDFC First Bank. Important question है, definitely phase 1 में आ सकता है अगर और किसी बैंक को उस टाइम तक अप्रूवल नहीं मिला है. Okay. Yes, this brings us to the end of the session. I hope you enjoyed it. 46 questions आज हमने कर लिए हैं. February का पूरा डेटा हमने आज रिवाइज कर लिया है. प्लीज रिवाइज करते रहिए, एग्जाम कभी भी आ सकता है. All the best for your exam. Thank you.